This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related, and today we have some quick Stadia news to go over. It's going to be a relatively short video today, but we're going to be talking about two very important pieces of news that are going to matter to a lot of people. We're going to be discussing the new Cyberpunk 2077 patch that rolled out on Stadia yesterday because it does seem to have improved the visual bug that I was annoyed of earlier. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the big news of the day, and that's the fact that Stadia iOS support is finally here. Now, to be very clear, it is in beta phase, but you can now officially play Stadia on iOS, be it your iPhone or iPad. This is huge news for many of you out there. By far, iOS support on Google Stadia has to be one of the most requested things I see in my comment section. Now, if you're wondering how to set it up, it's as easy as opening up Safari on your iOS device, heading to stadia.google.com, logging into your Stadia account, and adding the shortcut to your home screen. Following that, you just launch the shortcut whenever you want to play on Stadia. Overall, a relatively simple process, and that's a good thing to see because it was a bit of an issue with Apple allowing cloud gaming apps on their storefront. We'll talk more about that in just a sec, but I do want to point out some troubleshooting issues in case you can't get it to work. If you happen to be on iOS 14.3, I'll post a secondary direct link you can use in the description below that may be able to solve your problem. This has worked for some users out there, but not all, and if you happen to be in that scenario, it's important to note that this feature is currently rolling out in your typical traditional Google fashion. The overall rollout is expected to take a few hours according to Google, so you just have to remain a bit patient and try again later today. Now, to begin to understand why this is a big deal, other than the fact that the iOS user base is massive, is that Apple's stance against cloud gaming has been loud and clear. It's the very reason why you have to install this through a web app rather than just going into the App Store. And it's far from the only cloud gaming app that has to circumvent this through this way. Microsoft has already announced that xCloud will be doing the same thing, and other services like Amazon Luna and GeForce Now have already opted into this route. I'm not exactly sure why Apple's been so against it, but it's safe to assume it has something to do with money at the end of the day. But be that as it may, it's just great to see that cloud gaming has found a way around this because the iOS user base has been wanting to experience it as well. And it's a very important factor not just for Stadia but every other cloud gaming service because the whole point of it is about it being convenient enough for you to take the games wherever you want to go. Either way, that's all I really have to say about it, but I'm super glad for it to finally be here, and I'd love to know how many of you out there are playing on your iOS device right now. And speaking of Cyberpunk, it's the focus of our next topic because the latest patch seems to have improved the visuals of the overall experience. Now, I did mention the update in yesterday's news video, but this appears to have been something that got fixed on the back end that wasn't even listed on the patch notes. As some of you may remember from my Is It Worth It on Google Stadia video covering Cyberpunk 2077, I had a complaint about this weird blurriness that affected the game. In case you haven't seen it, here's the exact screenshot I used in that video. When you zoom in on it, you can just tell that something looks a bit smudged. Now, I did have some users telling me that I needed to turn off motion blur as it was the cause of this, but motion blur was already off when I took this screenshot. Now, after receiving some reports that this patch did improve the overall image quality, I decided to go back to this same location and take a similar screenshot. It is important to note that I haven't changed anything about the capture setup or the settings within the game. While this wasn't taken at the same time of day in game, it's very easy to see just how much sharper the image looks. Just take a look at this caliente sign that happens to be at the top left of the pictures. It's clear as day that some sort of improvement got made here, and it's not just the frame rate mode but also the visual mode that seems to be improved. Here's a look at a screenshot pre-patch, and here it is post-patch. I want you to pay close attention to Tom's Diner. Better yet, take a look at the police car and the Night City area rapid transit sign right behind it. This is something I'm super happy to see adjusted because it really did bother me quite a lot on the Stadia version of the game. I'm more than happy to say that it's no longer an issue for me, and if your eyes were never bothered by this blur in the first place, well, you get to enjoy an even sharper game. Either way, that wraps up all the news I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out. And if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video question is going to be asking how many of you plan on playing Cyberpunk on your iPhone or iPad. And if you have already, tell me what you think of the experience. It's pretty crazy to think that your mobile device can now play a game that both the PS4 and Xbox One really struggle to run. Stadia's really been on a roll with the news lately, and it's great to see them continue this pace. I can't wait to see what comes next. As always, thank you for watching the video. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related. The Gen S community is over 6,700 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.